Okay. Just making sure y'all can still hear me. Okay. You can also hear music. Y'all want to be able to hear the. Oh. Give me one.
Welcome back to the Texas Esports League as we have the Dubisky High School taking on IUP. Who are you going to take in this one, Doc?
These are two teams that I haven't had the pleasure to watch yet, but I think I'm going to lean for IUP yet. Just maybe a little bit of a restart for the lobby here. We'll yap a little bit and fill the time, but that's fine. Honestly, my decision comes down to nothing else besides I was a massive iCarly fan, and they are iUniversity, so that is where my allegiances lie. What about you?
I mean, one team has dub in its name and the other team doesn't. You know, I've talked about before how I'm a big name guy, and if you've got dub in your name, you know, I got to take you to pick the dub.
I can't argue with that. Yeah, it looks like we're just remaking that lobby, so that'll come up soon. We'll get into the action here. But I'm going to spin one of your own classic questions around on you, be it it's a little bit of a stretch here. Normally we ask about mascots. Like last time we had the Titans and the Techno Vipers. So you're big on Dubisky? Were you just pulling the dub out of that? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, and I mean, the other team is literally a red flag. Like, I mean, come on. How can you take the team that is literally a red flag? I don't understand. That there is a red flag there saying do not take them. I mean,
maybe it's a red flag to cue into them. You know, hey, this is a scary team.
It definitely could be, but you know, that's how I view it. But you know, obviously this is all, we haven't even seen the list of the players' names, so we have absolutely no clue who is actually there. But yeah, name game, I got to take Dubisky.
I love our little name game pre-match. I always think that's one of my favorite parts of our segment is you ask me about the mascot and we riff back and forth for a little bit. We fill the time, but unfortunately, iUniversity and Dubisky are not exactly the prime candidates for that. You know, no cool mascot names here, but it looks like we are going to go ahead and head into game one here.
I mean, one of them is trying to be sponsored by Apple, you know, iUniversity. Yeah, we see quite a touch off the backboard there coming off of red flag as Q-Tip is going to make a little bit of a touch here. See Dubisky trying to push it back. Big's going to come in with a big touch there. Alexander going to get a little touch off the wall. Red flag, sorry, is trying to punish that, but we're seeing fairly even high-level action here to start this game.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit in awe of that touch off of red flag zone backboard there, but as I say that, Alexander is going to find a nice little shot to the top right.
That's just a nice read off of an attempted clear there by Big. Big tried to clear it out through his own corner, and it's not quite going to be the touch he wants as a beautiful follow-up there by Alexander.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the way these two teams punch and counterpunch is what we said a lot last series, you know. We started to see a sweep, but then they come back. So this series, I'm excited to see how they interact with each other, what kind of punch, counterpunch we get here. But it looks to me like Dubisky might be coming out with a little more offensive pressure than IUP was ready for, as Zealous is going to find another one.
Yeah, we see Alexander getting another nice corner read here as he gets a beautiful touch up to Zell. Zell in position to be for it. And red flag looking like they're getting outpaced here a little bit.
Yeah, they might be a step slow, but, you know, first game of a series, sometimes it's hard to be locked in from the get-go, right? You know, especially we had a couple tech issues, things like that can throw a little... what is the matter what I say?
Just witnessed? What was that?
Yeah, I'm not sure that was quite the way Dubisky imagined scoring that with a dunk off Big New, but I think they'll take it, you know? It's maybe not quite the most typical goal we've seen, but to go up 3-0, you can't be too mad at that.
Definitely hard to be mad being up 3-0. Zell coming through, making nice contact there again, getting it past a lot of defenders with Pulse with a nice save there too. Red flag not going out of this game quietly.
No, not at all. And we see Solo here looking to make a little play with no boost, and I like that. I like that we're seeing Aya really be willing to control the ball despite being on low boost. I think that'll pay dividends as the game goes on, and they really force Dubisky to come to them and make a quality challenge rather than just throwing away possession.
Yeah, we saw that come in big last game too. Alexander's going to try and get another touch off the corner here. Going to get a nice pass to Daniel, trying to fake, but the IUP defender's not falling for it. Zell off the ceiling, Big's going to get a nice challenge here in the corner. Solo's going to make Daniel have to go around him, and the defensive rotations for Red Flag starting to hold up here.
Yeah, I really like what we're seeing. They seem very fundamentally sound. They're always challenging for their next man behind them, and they're keeping boost very, very well. I believe that entire defensive stay, they've had mostly, 200 to 300 boost on the defense. But as I say that, Alexander's going to find a reset, try to find a double, and his teammates there, but they can't quite link up. Dubisky looking to start throwing out some mechanical offense here.
Yeah, and it almost feels like Red Flag had a little bit of nerves. I've talked about this before, but it's been a while since we've been having a lot of repeat teams. That first time you're on stream, doesn't matter how big or small the stream is. It could be one person, it could be 100,000 people. There's a little bit of nerves there as Daniel comes in, gets a 4-0 lead here for Dubisky.
Yeah, I love this play from Zealous here. 100 boost, sees no one on the backboard, takes his time, doesn't quite slot the double in, but makes it dangerous enough that his teammates are able to convert an easy goal. So for me, that gives me a lot of confidence in the Dubisky offense, right? Like, they don't need that incredible solo play to find a goal. They just have good fundamental rotations and pressure.
Well, you talk about the solo play, but I'm pretty sure 3 of their 4 goals have been with the pass. As we see, a little bit of a misplay, but Alexander coming out of nowhere with a beautiful save. Zell gonna try and make that a counterattack there for Dubisky. Gonna not quite be able to line it up to thread the needle through the Red Flag defense.
Yeah, Alexander here on the sidewall, off the ceiling with full boost, looking to create something dangerous, but can't quite find the read off the ground. He's gonna jump at a challenge to make Pulse throw it away, as Daniel's gonna push him mid. One up, Zell looking for a double, but is low on boost, can't quite find it as IUP's looking to control out of their half. Daniel creating pressure despite low on boost. And we see Alexander up here a little bit awkward, is still going to find the challenge, as the Dubisky offense really starts to set up on the IF side of the field.
You say set up, and, Caster's curse coming through as Alexander gets a nice goal. Zell, the beautiful pass, getting it just around the Red Flag defender there. They started to finally run out of boost, and we can see immediately Dubisky capitalizing on it. It's nice to see that kind of capitalization and a nice, quick 5-0 start with a minute and a half left.
Yeah, the thing that's really stood out to me from this Dubisky attack is Alexander, in himself, to be honest. He has consistently moved around the field with so much speed, right? Like, you see him flipping here, rotating out. He's going to grab a boost and be behind his teammate and ready to go again. He never seems to be slow and stagnant. He always seems to get a lot of value off his touches. He looks for a hurdle redirect here, and we might start seeing some crazy offense out of Dubisky.
Yeah, we did see, though, with the last series that if you get a little too comfortable, though, the other team will come back. So I don't think this is a setup where you need to be comfortable. Sure, this first game is 6-0, but it really more feels like that these teams are feeling each other out, and it's just going the way of Dubisky more than anything else.
Speaking of how we talk about last game, how it translates to this series, I think we're seeing a lot of that same thing where IUP are making a lot of small mistakes that are just being punished and exploited a little more than they're ready for here. Like, as this kickoff is just hit to the other side, he's going to find a pass, and it's almost slotted bottom corner. A lot of the Dubisky offense has come off passing plays, and specifically off the backboard of the IUP goal. So IUP really needs, in my opinion, to start putting someone up on the backboard, keeping somebody back post to clear out that offense and make Dubisky attack in a new way.
I definitely agree with that. We see Pulse has had a couple of really beautiful saves. The Red Flag defense is great when they're trying to come from the corner, trying to come head on, but they haven't quite dealt with that backboard attack. We can see here they try and pass through the corner, and that Red Flag defense is holding. I'm very curious to see how this IF team continues to adjust as 7-0 happens with 3 seconds left.
Yeah, 7-0, clearly a garbage time goal. Doesn't mean too much, but I mean, you have to applaud the Dubisky offense, right? Like, a shot bottom left doesn't quite work out, but you still have Daniel with enough pace to get around it on the backside and finish off your attack. Rather than even having to reset and go again, you're still able to convert. So if you're converting some of the uglier opportunities when you have high-flying players like we've seen throughout this match, reset, double tap, as those things get cleaner as they settle into the series, the Dubisky attack could get out of hand.
It already is almost getting out of hand. We can see 7 assists, 8 goals. It's not just one person coming at you. It's everyone coming at you. There's you can't just watch for the solo plays because, yeah, you're shutting down the solo plays, but you have to be ready to shut down that next step.
Yeah, absolutely. The pace of the second player to that ball that comes off the challenge in the solo play has really been where Dubisky has found a lot of their offense and a lot of their goals, even in my eyes, where, we have, I believe, Zealous once or twice looking for a double on the backboard that is defended by IUP, sure, but because it's awkward and maybe not the best clear, Daniel and their third teammate's escaping me at the moment, but they've been able to come in quickly with that pace I was talking about earlier and slot off some of these goals and finish.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that we forget, Q-tips. He's a solid player. Puns aside, I'm hoping to see. We do see a sub here though by Red Flag, as I don't remember seeing Jacob in the first game.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that's interesting to me. I'm a big proponent of the four-man roster. I think it's something that Rocket League hasn't really explored yet, but I kind of like the idea of being able to slot in a new person to maybe give your team a different look, or someone who specializes at something that you think you're getting beat on, or maybe even just a placebo to get yourself back in the series and say it's not the same game. So that's a interesting substitution for me that I like to see.
It looks like it was a sub for Pulsefire. As Solid not quite able to make the solid contact he needs to stop the first goal from Dubisky getting up 1-0. We see the Dubisky offense continuing to just poke and prod and find these little holes in Aya. As nice little kickoff trick there from Jacob came through, but Daniel was ready for it in an immediate counterattack and a quick 2-0 lead here for Dubisky.
Yeah, I think this is IUP getting in their own head here a little bit. You see both Q-Tip and Big and back in the corner fighting over that 100 boost. They get a little mixed up, a little awkward, not sure who could go for this floating ball. That's clearly an attack that they have the ability to save away and turn into some offense for themselves, but they just need to settle down, get into the series, and do what they know they can do.
Yeah, it's been a bit hard to do that, though, when the offense hasn't quite been able to convert yet. The opportunities have been there. Maybe that's what the substitution is for. You're switching out, maybe a little bit more of a defensive-oriented player for a bit more of an offensive-oriented player. As Big trying to take control of the ball here. Getting a little risky, as I think Dubisky was a bit closer than he thought, but puts it into the air. Zell's up there. We can see the Red Flag defense is able to hold off this wave of the attack.
Yeah, so far for me, it's really been the Dubisky mechanics that are the difference maker. You saw Big there, calm enough to control the ball, take it across his goal line, work into the corner, what should be a very high-level defensive play that starts you on offense. He ends up panicking a little bit at the end and can't find the touch, and now you see Dubisky capitalize off that as they're never even forced to play defense. So for me, it's not really IUP not being able to compete or play at this level. They just need to settle down into the series and do what I've seen them do in this game. I know they're capable of making that touch.
Yeah, the other thing is we've talked about before, when we have these teams that are just, constantly on the offense and maintain that the other team can't score if they're constantly defending our attack, well, just send out a guy as a little outlet pass, go on an immediate transition. When all three of them are on your half, they can't defend their own goal, right? You can see there was an attempt there by Solid, but that was a beautiful double tap there by Alexander.
Yeah, Alexander finds himself in a little bit of free play here off the Zealous pass. I mean, that's gorgeous. I'm not sure if Zealous meant that to be a pass or he backflipped out of it, but regardless, the pace of the Dubisky attack there, able to find an open backboard and convert it and as smooth as you can ask, that shows a lot of promise for me for the rest of the series.
It absolutely does. I mean, you talked about Alexander earlier, and there he is coming in again for a 5-0 lead.
Yeah, Alexander might finish it, but to me, that's a really great pass from Zelsis there. I mean, he takes that corner boost and is able to get a lot of value out of it because he turns back into the play, cuts the rotation, and is able to leave a pass off for the guy who would have went for that ball. So instead of now just challenging into the corner, you're creating quality offense on the IF net. So it seems to me this Dubisky attack is maybe just a step ahead of what the IF defense was ready for.
We see that coming true again. The Caster's Curse not striking this time, as Zell just bodying the IF defender there. I mean, you see IF, they're trying to make those plays. It seems like they're just, like you said, they're not quite ready for that pace. That's a touch that was almost indicative of not expecting there to be a challenge there, and there was. We see Zell and Alexander trying to come in for an attack again. It's going to be deflected this time. Zell going to take possession, going to go over to the sidewall here. There's going to be a solid challenge there, but it's not quite going to be enough as Zell going to get it around the last defender and a 7-0 lead here for Dubisky.
If I'm IUP in this situation, the first thing that they need to do to start staving off this Dubisky attack is to control their own corner boosts. You saw right off kickoff there, Dubisky takes possession, steals a back corner. Zelsis off the ceiling, might not convert it, but he gives time for his teammates to push up, play next, and it keeps the IUP defense starved with no boost, while Dubisky takes everything they could possibly want and more. So if you start to control those own back boosts, you not only give yourself boost to make that play and make it easier for yourself, but you force Dubisky to rotate a little bit more passively back to midfield or grab pads and not be as aggressive as they've been.
Yeah, the aggression from Dubisky has just been, this is some of the most aggression I think we've seen in casting this entire league, as Zell with another double touch.
Yeah, and this is off a great pass from Alexander, hits it backwards up on the wall and says, well, I don't need to go backwards, I'll leave it for my teammate. And Zell comes in, converts an easy double, sees an empty backboard, and slots it home. I mean, you can't ask for much more of a clinical attack than that. So to me, it's really on this IUP defense to step up and start throwing some wrinkles in.
Yeah, the other thing I'm going to say is Dubisky cannot get comfortable. Like, yes, I talked about how you should be using this opportunity to try other things, but there's a difference between trying other things and getting too comfortable. Like we saw with that Vipers team in the previous game, they almost got too comfortable with their wins. So we'll see if IUP has the fortitude to make the same comeback that the Titans did.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to see a little bit of that now. I think this is the longest possession that IUP have had in the Dubisky half, so a little bit of progression here coming out in game 2 that I like to see. And that was actually Q-Tip maybe beaten by a step, but that was a challenge on their third man. If Q-Tip is maybe just a little bit faster, has a little bit more boost, he gets there, makes that 50, and creates a very, very dangerous opportunity for IUP. So they're not out of this by any means. They just need to clean up things just a hair, and things might start going in their way.
Definitely agree. And we talked about Zell and Alexander on this team. Well, Daniel just had a nice, beautiful setup. And there goes Daniel with a little aerial of his own. It's going to get blocked, but this is absolutely a three-headed giant here in Dubisky, as Alexander's going to take the ball, bring it back to his teammate. Daniel's going to get a nice touch. He's going to get a pass of his own. And Zell, they're not quite able to convert. Beautiful defense there by Solid.
Yeah, great defense from IUP, but I have to applaud this Dubisky offense. I love what I'm seeing. They're continuing to steal the corner boost, continuing to starve their opponents, and even confident enough to pass back and create quality offense for their teammates. They're not concerned with, I need to be the one to score. I want to create this offense. They're perfectly happy to back pass, create a really quality opportunity in space, and when IUP doesn't have any boost to defend it or to pressure it, it creates problems, as we're seeing.
Yeah, the other big thing I want to talk about with Dubisky, too, is we were talking earlier about how Red Flag has all of this boost on defense in the first game, and they were having all of this boost, and they were doing really well. All of a sudden, they're playing a more boost-starving style of offense. As we can see, there's no boost left for IUP. Like, they're trying to go on the attack here with Big, and I couldn't quite see who that other person was, but there was just no boost. So then Dubisky gets a counterattack of their own here, as Zell gets a pass to Alexander, and now it's 11-0.
Yeah, and boost is one of those things that just snowballs on itself, right? You lose 100, harder to get more pads to get back up. Now that person that stole your 100 is moving into attack again. You have to be ready for them. If you start to get boost starved by your opponent, it's really, really tough to start breaking out of that. And I think the Dubisky team has done a really great job of blocking the IUP team in their half.
Yeah, they have. You know, we've seen Q-Tip trying to clean up some of these offensive attacks, but he can't clean up that one, as we're seeing a wide variety of attacks, too, coming out of this Dubisky team.
Yeah, what a sequence there from Alexander to invert, find a redirect, one more touch, and the pinch off the corner to a teammate. Those are, it looks very routine to just possess the ball and pass it mid, right? But those are great moves that are allowing him to beat the IUP defender, right? They're expecting him to control the ball, take it up the wall, and rather he's half flipping into a redirect and playing offense quickly on you. So guess what? Now you don't have time to get boost, which means he's taking your corner again. It all feeds into itself, and this Dubisky offense is really putting on a show. I can't say enough positives about them.
Yeah, this is about the time where I think we need to start talking about, what do you do as IUP here? And one of the things that I think I do is, or I do IUP anyway. Um, One of the things that I do here as them is I start trying to send out a try and start break the normal defensive rotations. We talked about how they were solid earlier. uh, Dubisky has seen that they're solid. You got to start making some adjustments on the fly, like Dubisky has. Start sending out that outlet guy, so when you go for those counterattacks, you have someone with boost. We saw multiple times this IF team trying to go on counterattack, and there's just nothing to counterattack.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. So that brings me back to what I said earlier about they have to control their back corner boost. And really, if you want to take it even a step back from that, control the half circle of boost around your net. That is 50 boost that comes back every 3 seconds that you can get on your rotation. So if you control that 50 boost, you get a challenge. Now you get your 100. You get your 100, you find a clear or maybe a counterattack, and things start to work in your favor, right? But you have to have the boost to make that happen.
You definitely do. As we see another sub coming in for Red Flag. This time it's solid with Big New and RJ. We'll see how that affects them differently this time, as Zell is still going to go up on the offense, going to take it into the air. No flip reset. Going to stall on the flip reset. Got to get it on RJ. Nice, clean goal there by Zell.
Yeah, this is great from Zell. It's what he's done all series. He takes the ball into some space with boost, finds his play, and granted the reset was a little awkward, but fortunately it didn't need to be any better than that. He slings it bottom left, and that's enough to get it around the eye up off the defense.
Yeah, RJ playing some good defense there. He had a little save, and I don't think we talked about it. Daniel trying to come in with that quick attack. RJ's going to shut it down, though. It's nice to see this Red Flag team starting to shut down, or maybe not shut down, but slow down this Dubisky offense as Solid goes on a little bit of an attack of his own.
Yeah, we saw 2 or 3 really quality challenges from I up there in a row, and you know what it did? It forced Dubisky back to their half. It won them a boost. That's what we're talking about. RJ here is going to find another big clear that forces the Dubisky third man to go, and now he has no boost. IUP's creating this offense and starting to make things happen for themselves.
And you say that as Big gets a nice goal here. This is exactly what I was talking about in between the games. You go to make these opportunities for yourself. That little bit of an outlet there, all of a sudden, when Dubisky has those 3 players on your half, they're scrambling back, and you've already got one guy back there. You're creating these opportunities for yourselves, and it's a tie game here in game.
Yeah, and I love the aggression that Aya brought there. If you notice, Big actually didn't have any boost pushing up there as that second man role, but he knows his value in that play is to have a touch on the ball and to be present in the play, regardless of how quality it might be. And just the fact that he was there and able to shoot it results in a goal for IUP. So I love that they're not scared of this Dubisky team despite the punches they've been given early in the series.
Speaking of being given punches, Alexander getting a nice goal here to retake the lead for Dubisky. A nice getting it around RJ there. RJ not quite able to circle back as Alexander fakes going to the right, shoots it back over to the left. It's a nice little back and forth zigzag there.
Yeah, a great play from Alex. You know, he's ready to make that cut and find an open shot and is ready to go. But I really think that's a problem with the IUP defense. They're not approaching that challenge the right way. He can't be able to find that cut around you. The number one rule of challenging that offender is, like I said earlier, to make a play on the ball. You have to either find contact with his car, you have to create separation between him and the ball so the defensive players behind you can clean that up for you.
Just being able to force them to go to that plan B. You know, we saw that work well for the Titans in the last series. We've seen Dubisky be able to adjust to that plan B, but plan B is there because it's not your first idea. You know, we see they want to run the offense through Zell and Alexander. That's what they've been doing this entire time. So forcing them to go through Daniel, I think is going to result in a lot of things here. As I say that, Daniel gets a nice pass, and the offense is going to be able to finish it up for a 4-1 lead.
Yeah, well, you described this team earlier as a 3-headed monster, so I'm not sure running it through Daniel is actually going to hurt them that much. Sure, Dubisky has really been throwing Alexander, and again, their third teammate's name is escaping me at the moment, but they've really been hammering that pressure. But even Daniel has made quality offensive chances when he finds space in the midfield with boost. So I'm not sure any of these Dubisky players are really who you want to have the ball.
Yeah, Zell tries to come across. It's a bit awkward. That's a nice touch there by Big to keep them alive in this. And Dubisky not quite able to find the net. The IUP team pulled out some kickoff shenanigans there, got them an advantage, and Dubisky thrown for a little bit of a loop here, but now they're back to taking the boost, and this IUP team is back to being behind on boost, and it's more of what we saw in the first 2 games.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, things got a little bit awkward there, and often the times when things are awkward, whoever's faster is going to be able to make it work. So Dubisky possessing that boost almost makes them faster inherently. So when things break down, they're still at a disadvantage, which makes it really, really tough as a defender.
It definitely does, and I don't want to say that this red flag team doesn't have the mechanics here, because when we've seen them with boost, they absolutely have the mechanics of this Dubisky team, but they never have the boost. Dubisky is just one step ahead of them now. That I feel like red flag has caught up in that step, and now they're just behind on the tactics. It's a nice switch there by Dubisky, as RJ had the open net and just couldn't quite finish it.
Yeah, RJ saw his chance there, and I like the way he attempted the shot, right? He went for the air roll. He was looking to slot it back post, and unfortunately, he just didn't quite find it that time. That's just a consistency issue that it'll get leveled out, right? But unfortunately for right now, that's going to be a Dubisky 5th goal here in Game 3.
Yeah, the Dubisky team is continuing to show its flexibility, right? They were all over the passing aerial game 1, and then Game 2 they switched it up, and now in Game 3 they switched it up again. And the ability to just not only be that constant offensive team, but to switch up how you're that constant offensive team, that makes you so hard to fight against.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. To me, that's the hallmark of a great offense, right? You don't have to come in and execute your plan A. You can be confident in yourself and take what the defense gives you, right? You don't have to look for the solo play. You don't have to look for the passing play. Just be present and make the right play given what look the defense gives you.
Yeah, and the defense they're adjusting, but it feels like they're a step behind in their adjustments. You know, we talk about teams being a step ahead, and while these teams are both a step ahead of what I think our last match was, Dubisky is still yet another step. We can see IUP is narrowing the gap, but I still got to take Dubisky here.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Dubisky players have, like I say, just looked a step ahead, right? Like they are a little bit further in that journey. They're able to use their space a little bit more effectively. Like right here, that's a easy ball for Zelsis to hit up in the air and challenge and go for again, and it forces Ray J to leave this ball rather than creating a counterattack. And that ball bouncing, Alex is there to beat you to it because he has been fast all series. So I think it works a couple different ways for this Dubisky offense.
Yeah, we see the IUP player rotation going through, and I'm almost wondering if in some ways it's hurting them while being beneficial to them, because we see the Dubisky team is making the adjustments they need to, but it almost feels like they're also more cohesive than this IUP team.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think throughout the series, not bringing the same 3 players, and that's RJ's first game 3 into the series, right? It's impossible for him to be as settled in as all the players on the Dubisky roster because they've been playing for the last 10 minutes. They're warmed up, they know what they're doing, and they have a feel for the series. RJ is unfortunately tossed into that midway through the series, and he has to adjust on the fly versus these players that are already in sync and in stride and doing what they want to do. But on the other hand, for that, if you're playing this game as IUP and you're getting outclassed a little bit, rotate the players through. Let everyone come into this game and understand how they're beating you. Then that way you can improve as an individual later.
I totally agree with that statement, and I think we see IUP putting in a little bit more of a defensive lineup this time, which is weird to say since Dubisky's already up 1-0. It was a nice kickoff goal. A little bit of a breakdown in the kickoff there, but I like that IUP is at least trying different things.
Yeah, and that's actually great kickoff there from IUP. The Dubisky is there cheating and ready to go again. They have an answer for every single challenge that the Dubisky team brought that time. So that tells me that this IUP squad is capable of shutting down the offense, right? It's just they're missing something along the way. It's not that they're outclassed and unable to compete. They're just not quite there yet.
Yeah, like, that just looks like a little bit of a miscommunication there on defense. Pulse was set up to challenge it one-on-one. New thought he had the challenge, and they just end up getting in each other's way a little bit. Alexander going to try and pass to the corner, though. RJ is there. RJ's going to go rotate back post. Zell's coming through with an aerial attack. Nice save there by RJ to prevent a 3-0 lead for Trubisky.
Yeah, RJ's play is perfect right there. I can't say enough praise about the rotation I just saw. To go, force it up the wall. I can't challenge it up on the wall, so I'm going to rotate back. He grabs 3 pads on his way back, and he's there for the easiest save of his life on that reset there because he's already got the momentum in stride. But unfortunately, as I say that, Alexander's going to find a clanger.
Yeah, this is just a nice read by Alexander. It goes middle. You know, he's trying. The IUP team's trying to continue their offense, trying to get it back on defense. But you have to remember with this Dubisky team, they are always on offense. It does not matter where they are on the field. They are always thinking about offense. As even off the kickoff here, Daniel's already trying to put one in. Pulse is there. Zell was trying to get it in off a follow-up. Alexander's now coming in with a nice challenge there by Big. And you have to wonder if IUP is almost getting a little frustrated by the fact that they can never be on offense.
Oh, it's incredibly frustrating. Playing, we're in game 4 at this point, and we've seen essentially 20 minutes of Dubisky offense, right? Like there have been a couple counterattack chances for IUP that really haven't even materialized. So being locked in your own half just incessantly throughout the series is so frustrating because it feels like no matter what you do, they have an answer for you.
Especially when you're getting boost stolen from, too. They haven't quite worked out their response to all of the boost stealing from this Dubisky team, and that is something that I think is so underrated in a high-powered offense team is this Dubisky team, every time they go through third man, they're going through third man through the IUP big boost in their corner, and it's so demoralizing.
And the reason they're able to take that boost on the rotation out every time is because their first and second man are so disciplined. They're back, they're ready. It hasn't been hit over their head all game. So the third man has that confidence in his team to say, yeah, I can take an extra second and a half on this rotation and steal their boost. That way I'm able to cut. I'm denying them a resource. And they get so much value out of that because they trust their team.
It's a complete, well-oiled machine as we see Alexander just missing his shot there by a little bit. And, yeah, IUP is there. IUP can make these plays, but look at their boost. 2 of them are out of boost. The third one only has half.
Yeah, it's tough for the red flag defense, but they have been holding strong so far as we see RJ up on the backboard. The touch is a little bit awkward, but he is there for it, It's really is the small things where instead of that touch going middle and being awkward and making your teammates go, you find that touch to the corner and create some opportunities for yourself. So it's not that, again, it's not that IUP aren't capable of winning this series. They're just a hair off being able to do what Dubisky's doing to them.
I completely agree because when Red Flag's gone on offense, Dubisky's looked shaky on defense. Maybe don't go for those fast-paced counterattacks. You can take a minute and go, okay, we're not on defense, got possession, we know we need boost because none of us have it. So you take that time, you do that slow grind attack, and bare minimum, you're back on defense with boost instead of being back on defense with no boost.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really the function these big clears serve, right? Like, this is the difference between IUP holding this game 0-3 and 0-11 or whatever we saw earlier, is they're working their way out of defense occasionally. Sure, they're not scoring on it, but that first man working it all the way upfield is letting their second and third man reset, get boost, and be ready.
As we see a little bit of a mistake there on the control by Pulse, does end up being a Dubisky goal as Zell was ready for that redirect. It would have been a nice redirect. I like that he judged that it wasn't needed, just lets it go, and it shows a team that plays so well together.
Yeah, absolutely. I like what's materializing here in front of us, though. We see RJ taking a little bit of control with his boost, finds a 50, and Aldo and Zealous are a little bit too close, so they're forced back to their half. And what does that do? It opens up 75% of the field for IUP. It gives them all the boost, and now they can find this control and maybe create some offense of their own. We see RJ on the ball again, pushing it up, but Alexander is just so fast, has the boost, up off the ceiling now. What does he have? A reset, can't quite find it, but this Dubisky offense has so many layers.
It absolutely does. I would love to see how this Dubisky offense would pair up with like a Silas on the other team, you know, just having someone demoed all the time. So the moment you're not on offense, you just get scored on. As we see, you don't need a Silas going for demos as a little bit of a morale booster goal there for Big.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this play from Big. Pushes up, takes the mid, and isn't afraid to go get this challenge in the corner. And perhaps the Dubisky defense not really used to being tested like that. So obviously very unlikely that's going to pull them back into this game. But that's a good momentum booster for IF going forward.
It definitely is. And the thing is, you've finally been shutting down this Dubisky offense. You know, you lose the first game by almost double-digit margins, and now these last two, like 1-4 is not a scoreline to be embarrassed by at all. That's just, you know, a couple of touches that go your way instead of their way, and you win 3-2 instead of losing 4-1.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see those things happen all the time, right? Where it's one small, slight mistouch that just snowballs out of control. And I think the Dubisky offense was actually really, really good at enforcing that, right? If your touches aren't perfect, you don't have the boost to follow it up and correct it. Your teammates don't either. So Dubisky really, really forces out mistakes and capitalizes on them really, really well.
It's definitely nice to see these well-oiled offensive machines come through on stream. You have to feel bad for the opponents that they run into and get grind up and spit out by the machine, but it's nice to see them as this Texas Esports League is definitely showing that it's developing well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's quite a few teams in this league that really do bring that style of offense, right? And even if it's not that smothering mechanical offense we saw Dubisky do. I mean, that not everyone can bring that. And that's props to Dubisky, but that's just not something everybody can add into their game. But there's a lot of different ways to combat that. We've seen a lot of teams in this league have very solid defensive rotations that can counter that, and you counterpunch, and things start working your way. So there's a lot of different styles that here are clashing that I think makes a really interesting league to watch.
And I don't know about you, but I am definitely looking forward to these playoffs in 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And the high-pressure environment, you know, when it means a little bit more in the regular season, you start to see some of these players that maybe weren't as confident in the regular season start to show up. So I'm with you. I think the playoffs are going to be a really, really fun watch.
Video games, where is that gonna take you? Yeah, you're playing these games, you're playing them so long. What are you gonna do with it? With over 250 Texas schools and 5,000 Texas gamers, the Texas Esports League is powered by Vanta, the top amateur esports competition in Texas.
Best believe we're about to see some pretty intense action. Not only being able to hold it once, not being able to hold it twice, but being able to hold the point for 3 consecutive pushes coming from the Indy Knights. Olaf in full retreat, but they're not going to be able to get away. Saucy Kevin comes through with a big elimination.
It is crazy how much is going on.
This event has been absolutely insane all weekend long. There could be many collegiate coaches out there scouting for the next top-tier player to bring to their program.
And again, another clutch shot. Caribou coming in at the last minute to secure the victory for the Warriors.
Well, there you have it, folks. This is going to be your Vanta 2023 Spring Overwatch Champions. It is the Indy Knights, League of Legends Champions. Valorant Champions will be the Martin Warriors, who are your Rocket League Champions. It has been a fantastic showing from start to finish, and a huge GG's all around to all of our players.
Walking away with the victory clutch is what you call it.